ladies and gentlemen, it's time to start the meeting. I'd like to officially call the Madison County Planning Commission business session to order for Tuesday, September the 17th, and ask for a roll call.
Brian Adams. Here. Bill Klaus. Here. Mary Ogden.
Here.
Bill Buchanan.
Yes.
Doug Fritz. Here. Shannon Pennington.
Here.
Robert Farmer.
Here. At the record show, we do have a quorum, and the next order of business is approval of the minutes. Everyone should receive a copy of the minutes for August the 20th in their packet. Is there any corrections or additions to the minutes as received? If not, motion be in order.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is a second.
Second.
Motion to approve and second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll have a vote.
Brian Adams. Yes. Bill Klaus.
Yes.
Doug Fritz.
Yes.
Mary Ogden.
Yes.
Bill Buchanan.
Yes.
Shannon Pennington.
Yes.
Robert Farmer.
Yes. Next order of business is old business, zone change for 2319 Union City Road.
Before we start, this is what I recuse myself on for the family involvement.
Okay.
Recuse myself.
Okay. Building and lease-up, Steve.
This was a young change on going to Union City, Dunbar. You all tabled it last meeting. We got tabled that on it tonight. We probably need a motion to do that.
Okay. I'll open the floor for a motion.
Pursuant to KRS Chapter 100 and testimony given regarding the proposed land use change, I make the motion that we approve the land use change request from agricultural C7 to low density single family, and make it the fact the finding that the applicant's proposed findings of the facts and conclusions of law are within the guidelines of the comprehensive plan. Therefore, I make a motion that this committee should recommend to the fiscal court to approve the zone change.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second to the motion? Second. Any further discussion?
I do. I have a lot of respect for when we have this many people show up and talk about standing up, participating in their government and protecting their home. I have a lot of respect for that, and I want to take that extremely serious. Twice in my lifetime, the house that I grew up in as a child, and then the house I was raising my children in, the property around it was changing, and I felt the exact same way that these guys felt about my property changing around where my home was. I wrote down the things that they had said, reasons why we should deny it, and then I went to find out what. First was about the septic tank, septic system. I don't know anything about perk tests, so I called the health department in Madison County and talked to Sam and asked him, would you educate me on perk tests and how properties with septic tanks don't work and what we're supposed to do, and is there a property that can't have septic tanks? And talked to me about perk tests not being not working right if it's wet outside. And he's kind of giggled and he said, we haven't done a perk test in Madison County in 28 to 30 years. And he said, that's why that I have to have a geology degree, or I have to have a geology degree, because I go out and what we do is a site evaluation plan. And he said this site evaluation plan doesn't matter if it's the winter, the spring, the summer, or fall, we come up with the same information of how much dirt we need, what kind of dirt we need, how much time we need in order to make a septic system work. And I said, okay, well what if I've got properties that I heard from our residents that there were septic tank problems, that when it rained, their septic tanks would come up on the ground, sometimes their neighbors did. And I specifically said Diamond Brook. And he said, we did have some issues in Diamond Brook a few years ago, a handful. We went out, we found out what the problem was, and it was corrected. If there's problems out there now, I need those residents to call me so we can go out and find the problem. He said, septic tanks are like sewer systems. They need maintenance. And sometimes over time, your gutters might be going into your septic field, and then that's causing your septic field not to work. But he said, if there's a septic tank problem, they've got to call us and tell us that's their job to fix that. After that, I called the Division of Water about the E. coli stuff. And I talked to the gentleman there, and I said, tell me about streams, and I gave him the address, and he's looking, and he said, there's cattle farms everywhere. And I go, yeah, he goes, cows poop. They go down to the creek, they stand by the creek, they drink water, and they poop, and then it rains and it runs in the creek. He said, I'm not saying that that's all the E. coli, but I'm telling you, there is E. coli from animals, and if it's not cows, it's deer, the raccoons, and creeks, because that's where they go to feed. And he said, if there is a problem with E. coli in a septic system going into the spring, the residents have to call us and tell us so we can come out and do their job to find out why the stream is dirty, because none of us deserve to live in someone else's field, okay? And so, look, okay, I appreciated that information. One of the things that I learned by being on this committee that I didn't know before is, just because I never thought about it, the government spends their money to put out fires, not to stop fires from happening. They don't go and say, let's go build this road and make it bigger because one day somebody with more houses might be there. They don't. They come in and let us develop, and then they say the traffic's too much, and then they widen it. Whoever develops this property is gonna have to take state information to the State Department, and they're gonna have to say the road has to be bigger, wider, whatever has to be done to handle the traffic. The flooding, this property might actually help some of the flooding. I'm not saying it is, it might. I just know that we will not approve a development plan for this property or any property that they don't contain their own water and their own flooding. And that is part of our job, and we take that very seriously because no one wants to be flooded on water. I think if we all were honest with ourselves, regardless of our emotion, if we don't want our own properties to change around us, because I don't either. This is 70 acres between two subdivisions. In our lifetime, that property is going to be developed. And what choice that we really have is we might beat this today, or you might beat this today, but 2 years later, you've got a developer coming back again that has a lot of debt and more money into it, and may not be able to put 40 houses on 70 acres, they might have to put 50. It did not deny it again, 2 years later, they may have given up and sold it to someone from out of state that has more money than somebody here does, and then you're looking at even more. And the other thing that we don't know, I just happen to know because I'm kind of in this industry, is there are all kinds of government money going to help developers put sewer systems in so that they can put high density affordable housing in property. There's millions and millions of dollars that come to Kentucky every year for affordable housing, and that money is enough to help some developers go over the edge to put in sewer systems so that we can have high density instead of 40 houses on 70 lots. I know that's not what you all came here to hear, but I'm sympathetic of the fact you don't want your neighborhood to change, but this is 70 acres in the middle of two subdivisions. I believe it's gonna change, and I believe the best thing that I can do for you is to give you 40 new neighbors instead of 400 in a few years. That's it. Thank you for cooperating my information.
Any comments? Okay, I'll ask for a vote.
Mary Iker,
Yes.
Brian Adams,
Yes.
Bill Klaus,
Yes.
Bill Buchanan,
Yes.
Shannon Pennington,
No.
Robert Farmer.
Yes. It'll be the recommendation of the commission then that it goes to the fiscal court as, seeking their approval for this zone change.
And just for y'all's benefit, if you don't understand the process, I mentioned this last time, but this is a recommendation from the planning commission to the fiscal court. Only the fiscal court has the power to change the zoning map of the county. So it'll go for 2 readings in front of the fiscal court. Those will be public meetings, obviously. Anybody that would like to attend, if you have any questions about the dates of those meetings, you can contact my office or the county judge office.
Can I say something?
We're not taking any comment tonight, I'm sorry. If anybody wants to leave, we have other items on the agenda, you're welcome to stay. If you need a few minutes to leave, you're welcome, you can just make part of the back. Yeah. Thank y'all.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
Yeah, but you said something about sewers, why we have sewers down in Dun Dolesville now. That's been on the table for months.
Sorry, we're not taking any comment tonight. Let's see if you miss one smart thing. Clear out, over here if we don't. All right, I think we're good.
Next on our agenda is the final submission plat for 3/4 development. Number of work session.
Yeah, this is the development at the corner of Three Forks and Red House Road. Y'all did the zone change sometime back, and then we had the final plat submitted at the work session. They corrected all the questions that I had. You can see they've added a fire hydrant between lot 18 and 19, and then added one between lot 22 and 23. Obviously, the one goes to be installed before Robert signs it, but you all can make a motion to approve it contingent upon that. Everything else that I had been correct.
Any comments, questions, that any commission members may have? What was the contingency vote, was you saying the signatures with contingency vote?
Yeah, we'll need, obviously, yeah, we need signatures also.
Was there another?
There's two fire.
Fire being installed. They're shown on the plat where they're gonna be, but they've not been installed yet.
Okay, other comments, questions? If not, then I'll look for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, yes, sir.
On the fire hydrants, would there be a possibility of getting a signature with a contingency that no building permits would be issued until the fire hydrants are in?
That puts a lot of responsibility on me or my people in my office to keep up with that and know. We do hundreds of plats every year for me to remember which ones have been signed and which ones haven't. It's gonna be a little bit of a daunting task. I think the fire hydrants need to be installed. We're not gonna issue any building permits anyway, so why wouldn't we go ahead and get them installed? I mean, you can get the rest of the signatures and then just, Robert would hold off. I don't wanna be, or whoever's in my chair that might come in after me, not know, I mean, if you've got a signed plat that's been recorded with an address, it's a building lot, right? And that's not part of our process to then go, when we get a building permit application, to go check a plat to make sure it's been, that something's been done that was required by that plat. So that'd be my recommendation, that we need to hold off until those, and that's what we did for, the development out on 4 Mile, and we're holding that plat until those fire hydrants get built. It was similar, it was a 10-acre large tract development, and we're holding that plat because those fire hydrants haven't been installed yet either. I think we probably need to be consistent on that.
So, we can do it with the contingency on these two items, should we hold it?
For you to sign, yeah, for you to do the final signature, because they won't record it until your signature's on it anyway.
Anything else?
So what are the contingencies?
Fire hydrants, and the rest of the
Fire hydrants and the rest of the signatures.
Oh, okay.
I'll try it. I make a motion, we approve the final subdivision plat for 3/4 development contingent on installation of fire hydrants and receiving the final signatures.
Okay. Have a motion to approve those contingencies, or a second to motion?
I'll say you.
Have a motion and a second, any further discussion? If not, we'll have a vote.
Brian Adams.
Yes.
Bill Klaus.
Yes.
Doug Fritz.
Yes.
Mary Harper.
Yes.
Bill Campbell.
Yes.
Shannon Pennington.
Oh, yes.
Robert Farmer.
Yes. You got an next one, sir?
I think so.
Yeah.
Subdivision plat for Berkeley Hall, phase 4.
There has been listened to. Didn't have anybody listen to the letter of credit and the subdivision restriction, and I got both of those today in the office. That's why you all don't have it in the meeting file, but I do have them. They'll be filed with our major subdivision file, and obviously the letter of credit will be maintained until that can be released. But everything else, this one's good to go.
This is the, fourth. and
Phase.
final phase,
Phase 4, Berkeley Hall.
which is the final phase.
Nowhere else to go.
I don't think they got anywhere else to go. I wouldn't put nothing past Jim Carter. I know we're on the record here. Here? No, y'all know he's not here. That's all Ruben said.
Okay, all vote for motion.
I make a motion that we approve the final subdivision plat for both Mercury Hall phase 4.
Have a motion to approve, or second on the motion?
And we'll need signatures on this one too.
We can make an amendment to that.
No, continue on all the signatures being, added to the plat.
I'll second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll have a vote.
Mary Ida,
Yes.
Jeff Fritz,
Yes.
Bill Taylor,
Yes.
Bill Buchanan, Brian Adams,
Yes.
Bill Klaus,
Yes.
Robert Farmer.
Yes.
Thanks, Stuart.
Next on the agenda, site development plan for Weston Road and White House Lake Shrine Road. That's on 25 north of Richmond, correct?
That's right, we looked at this last week, actually, just a couple times. And, I think we're close. I think we're real close. Except for, so I see on page 3 where you've given me the boundaries and the calls, for where the detention area is located. Unless I just missed it, I don't see it mentioned anywhere in the notes or on here that it's an actual easement, so track 1 or whatever track that is, the remainder, I guess, of what you're developing. The remainder in track 1 would have access to that detention area and maintain it if they need to. It's boxed out there, and it's got the L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5, but if there's no language or anything that shows that it's been actually eased into that detention. We talked about it last meeting for those, look, everybody was here, the detention area, the riprap and all that for this lot is actually on another lot. It's owned by the same people at this time, but that may not always be the case, so it was the consensus, I think, of the commission that they would be okay with that as long as it was shown as an easement.
Yeah, look at, under surveyor notes, number 1.
Okay, on page 3, note number 1, personally plat of the last one. Oh, so you're gonna do a minor plat here. This is gonna be a minor plat.
Yeah, we went ahead and added that so we could show that it'd be for all 3 lots.
Well, I get that, and that's good for the minor plat, but I think if they approve that tonight, this hasn't been approved yet. So I think the copy that you bring me, Robert, to sign on the site development plan probably needs a notation to reference the minor or to reference something, because if you end up not doing this, well, you see what I'm saying? They're two different things. So let's make sure we have it marked on the site development plan as well as what will end up being a minor plat that Robert will sign in the office. That's all I had. Everything else,
The only contingency would be to, make sure that the state is on the.
Signatures.
On
all signatures and shown on the site development plan, show the easement to the detention area on the site development plan.
This is the site development plan right now.
Well, the front 2 pages are, the back pages is a minor plat that they're, will at some point present before this, project is started. It's to the site development plan, because Robert can do the minor and all.
Okay. I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the site development plan for Lexington Road, White Hawk, Skyler Road. Pursuant to getting all the signatures and the easement on the site development.
Perfect, thank you.
Motion approved, is there a second?
Second.
And motion second, any further discussion? If not, we'll have a vote.
Brian Adams.
Yes.
Bill Buchanan.
Yes.
Shannon Bennington.
Yes.
Bill Fritz.
Yes.
Mary Oliver.
Yes.
Bill Klaus.
Yes.
Robert Farmer.
Yes.
Thank you, Wayne.
When do we do this one for the commission?
if you watched this recording on Tuesday, I didn't, I was out of town, but sure I report about it today. The planning of the fiscal court, was a 2-2 tie with one abstention on whether or not to approve the new regulations for the medical cannabis that we talked about at the last business session. I was taking my direction from them. When I say them, I mean the judge's office, who's my boss, who consults with them about things like that. That's why it was brought to you all in the form that it was. So, I'm not sure what's gonna happen with that. They will have to make they will have to take action on your recommendation, whether that's approve it or overturn it or do nothing, in which case it becomes law anyway after a certain time period. But just to keep y'all in the loop, if that comes back, that's why. I don't know what'll happen with it.
Was this the first reading?
This was the first reading.
So they'll have another reading.
They'll have another reading, so it was they don't really have to take a vote at the first reading, it's just a reading. They'll have to take a vote to do something, to take action of some kind.
I read it, like, what was their issue? I didn't read, I didn't have a lot of details.
Something about Farm Bureau got involved and were
Well,
against it.
Farm Bureau was against it.
Then there was some other concerns from, like I said, I wasn't at the meeting. I wish I had been, but I was away. So, I'm not sure. But
Yeah, I
So
read it.
if we do nothing, they do nothing,
it's nothing, it'll take effect. Your recommendation will take effect. It takes a full majority, not a simple majority. It takes a full majority of the physical court, so at least 3 members, to overturn the planning commission's recommendation, just like his own change.
Right.
Is Jubal still here?
Yes.
Jubal, if I say something wrong,
I'm listening.
Takes a full majority to overturn the planning commission recommendation. If they do nothing, well, they don't have a majority to do that, it'll take effect. If they do have a majority to do that, then they'll either have to come up with another recommendation, or they'll have to take some kind of other action. Whether that's to vote to put it on the ballot, which I think is too late for that, or if they vote to opt out of the program. That's one of the options that the state provided. If y'all remember from the first time I brought it up, they can vote to put it on the ballot, they can vote to opt out, or they can do nothing. In which case, to do nothing, we had to take that step that we took to accommodate or to absorb it into our regulations somehow. And that's what we did with that regulation. So,
If they opt out now, can they opt in later?
yes. And that option has been floated around a little bit. They kind of take a deep breath, step back, see how things go. I read today, there were 5,000 applications to the state, 4,998 applications for some type of marijuana license. And the majority of those being dispensaries, right? You can imagine they want to sell it, they don't want to, they're on their process, they just want to sell it in the store. So if you break that down, that's 40 applications per state. That means per county, Madison, Fayette, and Jefferson probably got 3 times that. So there's people on the other side of this too. Fiscal court needs to be careful to not do something improper that maybe get people that have invested money. If you want to do this in Madison County, you've already had to have. The license application process closed on August 31st. So if you want to do this in Madison County, you've already invested your time and your money, your resources into applying for that. So to now, for us to say you can't do that in Madison County, it's going to affect some people. So the fiscal court's going to do what the fiscal court thinks is right, based on their constituents and feedback they're getting, and how that affects you all remains to be seen.
Any other new business?
That's all I got.
We had that letter from that attorney, is that all been cleared up?
I think it's still in
It's all
process.
still in process.
That's nothing that you all need to worry about. Just that attorney, that's nothing y'all need.
Okay.
That one you held up was the drainage calculations for that Lexington Road development.
This one was the one they talked about at the meeting, but
Yeah, it's just,
we can't consider this.
Yeah. It was a follow-up to what was already taken. Yeah. there should be one there from the applicant as well.
Yeah.
Okay, make sure everybody got that.
Okay, that's all, this coming for the commission, and a motion to give the order to adjourn. I make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, Charles, one to stay with it.
No, I just keep coming up, okay.
Bill Klaus,
Yes.
Brian Hyde,
Yes.
Debbie King,
Yes.
Steve Christian, Fred,
Yes.
Mary Iver,
Yes.
Robert Cron.
Yes.
Thank y'all. Is that Thursday, conditional use? We are.
See ya.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How about your remarks, Brenda?
Thank you, I appreciate that.